Now joined by former Senator from Pennsylvania, Rick Santorum, a person himself taking a look at the 2012 race. Come here to talk about the issues of the day. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thanks, David. Good to be with you. And Rick?
So let's start with health care. This idea of a public option compromise that they're trying to come up with now, obviously, the public option has been something your party's been completely opposed to this entire time. Is this something that makes a little more sense, do you think, modeling something on the federal employee health plan? Did you partake in that plan when you were a senator?
I did, yeah. Every federal employee does.
Every federal, or I guess some, Sherrod Brown, I think, opts out of it at the moment. But yeah,
Didn't know that.
There you go. But this was your health care plan. Is there something, if it's not government run, if it's private insurers being offered in this government offered plan, what is that?
As a matter of fact, if you look at the most of the Republican alternatives actually are modeled after the federal employees health benefits plan. I don't think Republicans have a problem with a plan if you're going to have the government pay, which is what the federal employees health benefit plan is, as long as it's a private sector system. In fact, Medicare Advantage, which the Democrats are trying to gut, is exactly that program, which is Medicare pays, but you go out and get private sector insurance. Medicare Part D, which is the drug program, is the same thing. These are things that Republicans have argued for. And so for the Democrats to come and say, well, this is the public option, I don't see too many on the left signing on to that.
Right, more likely to get support, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you might get Republicans to support that.
I'm curious your take on this. A couple of former majority leaders that you worked with, Bob Dole and Bill Frist, made headlines a few months back by saying that they really wanted to work with President Obama and the Democratic ideas. What do you make of that? Do you think that do you think that's consistent? Do you think that's accurate for them to be saying that if they were still in the Senate, they'd be working with the Democrats?
I think, look, I think the current leadership of the Republican Party wants to work with the Democrats, but there has to be some ideological, move to the middle.
But the clear suggestion from Senators Frist and Dole was that the direction that the Democrats were going at the time was something they could support.
I don't think any. Well, you can see when Olympia Snowe can't vote for it, they're not moving in any direction near the middle. I mean, they have decided that they're going to win this thing with a partisan vote. They're going to try to grab for the brass ring, get everything they possibly can to appease the base. They've alienated their base on the foreign policy side, and they're going to try to make it up by doing a big health care. They can't do it with cap and trade, which you mentioned before. That's dead. And so this is their real opportunity to deliver on their biggest campaign promise.
You mentioned foreign policy. The president's speech last week on Afghanistan, putting 30,000 more troops in there for an 18-month period to try to surge to a level and then start bringing them home. What'd you make of his speech? You agree with that policy?
All I would suggest is, maybe some of your folks who are listening can answer this question. Name me a time in the history of the world where one of the warring parties has announced in advance that they were leaving and we're going to end the war at a certain time and won the war.
But he didn't announce an end to it, and he didn't announce that they would all be gone. He said that in July 2011, that is the date that they'll start transitioning power back to the Afghans. It sounded more, to me, like a rhetorical fig leaf for the left than abandonment.
If that's what it is, if what he's saying is that, I thought he said we were going to begin withdrawing troops. That's what he said. Now, that certainly keys to me that we're withdrawing it on a timeline as opposed to what the situation on the ground dictates, which is, in my opinion, not a very smart move.
You're headed to South Carolina tomorrow. So a lot of political travel for you recently. You've done Michigan, you've done Iowa. These are all states that we love because
why is that?
I don't remember, but they're just states that pop into my mind for whatever reason.
Well, great states.
Give us some context around this. How likely is it that you're going to be running in 2012 in your mind?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, what I am committed to doing is getting out and talking to folks and being involved in the 2010 process, because nothing really matters right now until we get some voice of Republicans back here in Washington, which means, a handful of new senators, narrowing the gap of in the House of Representatives, so Main Street ideas, common sense ideas can come back instead of what is this clearly ideological bent that this administration, the Democrats, have. So I'm focused on 2010. I'm going to South Carolina to help Gresham Barrett, who's running for governor.
But you have said previously that you are taking a look
I'm
at the 2012 presidential election.
Absolutely taking a look. But look, I'm doing it in the context that right now there's very important matters, and I want to weigh into those matters as to what the Republican Party stands for in 2010. I think I've been very clear that, we need to stand foursquare on the traditional values. When I say traditional values, people think, oh, that means, social conservatism and the family. It also means the free enterprise system and that government shouldn't be large and controlling things. I mean, those are all core Republican principles that I think the American public is foursquare now realizing what they've done is elect a bunch of people who, I saw a statistic the other day that if you look at the president's cabinet, only 8% of the people in his cabinet had any private sector experience before they took their cabinet positions. That's the lowest in a century. The next closest was John F. Kennedy, which was close to 30%. So this is a guy who has gone in with the ideological, academic folks, the folks who are in the sort of the movement liberals, and tried to take over Washington. And the American public said that's not the change we were looking for. And so I think 2010 is the most important thing.
Quickly
right
before
now.
we let you go, obviously
Yeah.
one of your potential competitors, Sarah Palin, gets a lot of attention,
And she should. She's an
selling a lot of
entertaining
books.
person. I think she's a lot of fun to watch.
There's no doubt about that. Is she qualified to be president of the United States?
I let the people decide that. I think she's done a lot to draw attention to herself that's positive. She's done some things that certainly are going to cause her to have to do some explaining if she runs for president. But right now, I think she's on a roll. She's having a good time. She's having an impact. Which, look, if you're sitting here out of office, the thing you want to do is have an impact on the direction of the country right now. If you're not governing things, and she's having an impact.
Excellent. Senator Rick Santorum, thank you very much for being here
pleasure.
today. Good
Thank
luck
you.
out there as you campaign around the country.
I loved your old bumper sticker, Rick U.S. Senator. I had it on my cubicle at work. It has a good ring to it.
Did it work for you?
Yes, it did.